Disclaimer! The following episode contains spoilers for The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned. Welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. And this week, another world, another time, in the Age of Wonder. We're talking about the Dark Crystal! Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. My name's Scott James Merridew, and this is the show where we talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and are joined each week by a very special different guest. This is my other half, the Skeksis to my mystic. It's Mark Russell. No, it's more high-pitched than that. It's like, Oh, it reverberates through my skull ever since I was but a wee nipper. Actually, okay, right, that's the thing. Before we go into any great detail about this, let's just talk about Dark Crystal. I don't want to make too many comparisons, because this is a prequel, and even then it doesn't directly end with the movie Dark Crystal. But let's talk about the movie Dark Crystal before we get into the actual show, Age of Resistance, because there's so much to talk about, Mark. There's so much to talk about when I just don't know how we're going to find the time. But
we shall make time. We shall sleep like Aughra for 1,000 years.
Yeah. But that's the thing. A lot of people watch this when they were kids. I never watched this when I was a kid. I watched this when I was in university when I first watched this.
I think I watched this about 2 years ago.
Oh, there you go then. I probably did a bit after university, think about it. And it's weird because, so many people, especially people who worked on this show, grew up watching it, and yet we never did, and I find that weird, you know?
Well, you and I didn't exist in 1982.
That's true, yes, but, I didn't exist in 1977, but I still watched A New Hope and stuff like that. And maybe it's because I didn't grow up in a media-conscious household, but even so, I was introduced to the Muppets and things like that, and I just think it's weird that some people were introduced to this as a young age, through their parents or friends or whatever, but we, I'm guessing, sorted out on our own because we have such a great love for Jim Henson and the many work he did.
Yeah, because I grew up with Sesame Street, and then the Muppets, and then found out about Labyrinth. And, I think I knew subconsciously about Dark Crystal. I knew it existed, I just didn't get around to watching it until recently.
And, I heard, bits here and there, like the Dark Crystal, but it wasn't until I was older that I had a greater appreciation for this. And it's weird because I never grew up watching Sesame Street. You hear things about it like Elmo, stuff like that. But
I watched it in the era before Elmo got popular.
Ah, back when. Okay.
The good old days.
Okay, wow. What's with the Elmo hate?
I don't hate Elmo. I'm quite fond of Elmo. It's just I watched it prior to Elmo taking over the show.
Okay, I wasn't realised there'd been a bit of a character dynamic shift then. Like I said, I haven't kept up with Sesame Street.
Well, they're doing quite well. They've introduced an autistic character last year, so it's good to know that they're still keeping up with the times. They haven't faded away.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not familiar with it, but I have kept up with it because, again, love for Jim Henson and a lot of his work. So I keep abreast of stuff like that, and I did know about that. I think that's great, especially you know how I feel about children's media, about how they need to be more representative and need to be smarter and more emotionally intelligent and
I could sense a Disney rant coming on.
No, I'm not gonna give a Disney rant. I'm not gonna do a Disney rant because
we're here to praise Jim Henson. That's why.
Yes, and I do love all his work. Do you know how much I love the Muppets and stuff like that? I loved the Muppets TV series, the latest TV series that came out that tried to reenact The Office.
Oh, that was really good, I thought.
I thought it was good. It was different, but it still felt like the Muppets. The Muppets characters felt intact. The style and maybe a bit of the tone was a little bit different, but even then, it felt like the Muppets, so I enjoyed it. And the Dark Crystal, getting back on track, I thought was really good in terms of the techniques and the themes and the atmosphere and the cinematography and the music. Never really connected with a lot of the characters.
Yeah, that is my one complaint. I feel that as much as I love Jim Henson and his world building, so to speak, or quite literally world building,
Oh yeah.
is something that's truly remarkable. I do feel that I couldn't quite connect with the story he was trying to tell.
Yeah, maybe because we don't spend a lot of time with the characters. Honestly, I felt more of a connection with the Skeksis in that movie, just because they felt more emotional and more real to me, whereas opposed to Jen and Kira, not so much. Even the Podlings, I like the Podlings. But here's the thing, though. This is essentially a 10-hour movie. It's 10 1-hour or thereabouts episodes with much more time for character focus and character dynamics and relationships and the plot, and it really does that. The only issue is whether or not the technology is able to keep up, because in the original technology, the designs of the Gelflings meant they couldn't really emote very much compared to like the Skeksis or the Podlings or Fizzgig or Augur or anything like that. And in this TV show, it is slightly better.
Slightly better. I can get along with that.
Not as much as I'd like it to be. Okay, so if you haven't already, Capers, if you haven't already, Mike, I highly recommend this. On Netflix, in addition to the Age of Resistance TV series, and of course the Dark Crystal movie proper, there is a making of the TV series called The Crystal Calls, and it's about an hour and a half, and it's absolutely brilliant to see all these people, from the voice actors to the producers to the writers, talk about the making of this show. And one of the things was that there was a bit of an interest, because here's the thing. The Dark Crystal movie did not get very warmly received when it was first released. It has since become a cult classic. I think that's partly because a lot of people were expecting a certain thing from Jim Henson at the time. They're familiar with him for his work with, like, The Muppets and Sesame Street and Labyrinth and Star Wars and all these other things that were much lighter in tone, and this was a much deeper, darker fantasy, which was his entire intent the whole way through. He was never trying to make anything different, but people didn't really like that. Of course, people have a greater appreciation for it as the years went on, and so great was that appreciation that we've had a slew of novels and graphic novels and expanded universe content, a lot of which have been done by people directly associated with the original movie. Brian Froud, in particular, has done numerous things like The World of Dark Crystal and things like that, books that really expand upon this world in really interesting ways. And because of that, they wanted to possibly do another movie or a TV series, and one time they were considering making it animated, and later on in the development process they combined CGI Gelflings with animatronic and puppet Skeksis, and it didn't really look great. And then during this documentary, they show a brief clip where this animation studio they've been working with had CGI'd bits of the original movie. Like, there's a scene with Kira where she's talking, and they animate her face to make it a bit more expressive. Like, you can tell it's been manipulated a little bit, but she conveys a much greater sense of emotion. And that's kind of what I thought they'd do here, and they kind of didn't. Like, it's much better than the original movie, but it's not brilliant. And I feel like it's necessary to talk about this because I gave the Lion King remake an absolute fucking tongue lashing due to its blank, featureless, non-expressive characters' faces, and so I would be remiss if I did not do the exact same thing to this show. It's not as bad as The Lion King by no stretch of the imagination. Like, it is much, much better, but the characters don't emote as much as they could do. They emote a bit, but not as much as they could do due to the limitations of the technology, because these are much smaller creatures, much smaller puppetry. It's much more difficult to manipulate and have all this other technology stuff going on around them. So I get it, I do, but that is a factor. However, all the other characters, dear God, it's like they're real.
Because they are real.
They are. Well, that's the thing, you see. CGI and puppetry, it's psychological. We look at CGI, and no matter how good it is, we know, our brains know subconsciously, it's not something that's real. It's not something we could touch. You can touch a Gelfling. You can touch a Skeksis. I don't know why you'd want to, but you could do. And with, of course, the Skeksis' consent, obviously. So yeah, and it's much better. And because of that, this is one of the best fantasy stories I've seen in a long time. Fucking take that, Game of Thrones. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yes! Yes, preach it to the choir. Let me just say this. I enjoyed Dark Crystal Age of Resistance more than I did the last 4 seasons of Game of Thrones. I felt more of a connection to these characters, some of which are actually ironically voiced by Game of Thrones actors.
Yeah, they got Natalie Emmanuel, who played Missandei, Lena Headey, who was Cersei, and Natalie Dormer, who was what's-her-face? Margarine Tyrell. And I was watching. I mean, granted, she left the show before it became really bad. But I was looking at some of the credits for these people, and I'm just thinking, like, is this community service? Are they making up for the last season, or possibly last 2 seasons, or in your case, last 4 seasons of Game of Thrones? Is that what it is? Like, you know what? Screw you guys. We're going to be in a good fantasy TV show.
After watching, seeing Game of Thrones so slowly slide down a hill into a muddy river, having a very old, so to speak, franchise come back in a blaze of glory. Okay, 30 years. Come back in a blaze
that is a long time. That is a long time. Consider, we've had books, as I said, and graphic novels since then. There's been bits, but largely, like, the franchise has been quiet, let's be honest.
And it's come back gloriously.
Really fucking gloriously. We could go on and on and on and on and on and on about it. Let's just get to the story. Now, there's 10 episodes. Each episode is long, so we may skip over some bits here and there. Try and bear with us, keepers. This is not meant to be a recounting of the synopsis. It's meant to be a review. So, let's get started. So, what I love about this show is it takes off, obviously, quite a long while. I don't know how many hundreds of years, but still quite a long time after the events of the Dark Crystal Creation Myths graphic novel. Have you read it?
I have not.
You should. It explains what happened to the Skeksis, the Mystics, the Gelflings, and it talks about the creation of the world, Thra and Aughra and the Crystal, and introduces some new characters that we don't see either in the Dark Crystal movie or this TV show, but do get mentioned. There's like 1 or 2 Easter eggs, which I'm not going to spoil here and there, but like some names get dropped, and it's like, oh, I remember that, that's cool. And it lines up all but perfectly, and it's great because Brian Froud had a great hand in that graphic novel, and also in the show, and I think it's great. Before we go and talk about the show itself properly, I want to say Brian Froud was the conceptual designer. Like, he came up with all the character and creature designs for the original movie. He's a brilliant and fantastically talented British illustrator of fantasy vignettes and things like that. He's like a sort of modern day John Bauer, the Swedish artist who did things like those old troll pictures and things like that. Have you ever seen like stuff like
that? Can't say I have, but I am a big fan of Brian Froud.
You probably have seen a lot of his work. It's just that you don't know that he's the one who did it, because they're very famous.
What's his name?
Oh God, John Bauer.
Ooh, lovely. Oh, it's very Brian Froudy, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's sort of progenitor of him. I don't know how directly he was influenced, but there's some similarities. And yeah, it's brilliant. But what's brilliant about this, not only did he return to work on this show, but also his son got involved. And I think
Toby from Labyrinth.
Yeah, the baby from Labyrinth grew up to become sort of involved in his dad's work and helped create this. So they're keeping in the family, plus both Lisa and Cheryl Henson were involved with this, especially Lisa Henson. So they're keeping in the Henson family as well, which is brilliant.
There are a few veteran Muppeteers here as well. Dave Gould, Louise Gold, and Kevin Clasher are here as well.
Yep, and Gould also worked on the original movie as well.
Nice.
So I'm not sure about Kevin Clash being on here, considering what happened with him, but
we like Elmo.
If we like Elmo, are we sure we like him? We don't know. We don't know. Let's move on. There's much more important things to talk about.
Jim Henson, yes.
Jim
Dark
Henson.
Crystal, yes.
Yeah, so the Frouds and the Hensons working together in this movie, I think is an absolutely lovely thing, and they did such a great job, all of them, on this. It's I think the spirit of Jim Henson is very much alive in the production of this show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the story begins, bit of a backstory about the world of Fra, blah blah blah, the Crystal of Truth, Orgra. Now she's got, and then the Skeksis, even though it wasn't the Skeksis, it was the Urskeks, gave her this Ori, this big planet thing for her to travel the stars in an astral form. I think that's just like
Star Trek.
No, I was saying that's subtext for her being high as fuck the whole time, but sure.
Nice.
But the thing about creation myths is, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but at the end of it, once the Skeksis arrive, they start saying, hey, so we're the Lords of the Crystal now. Hey, Gelflings, you need our help with anything? And it's like, oh, actually, yes, there's some monsters there. Could you help with that? Oh, yeah, sure, we can help with that. And it's the beginning of their rule, as it were. And what I like is they go through various stages of power. They clearly are power hungry and greedy, but this story begins with them being seen as the benevolent rulers of Thra, when actually they're evil fucking vultures, literal fucking vultures.
Well, I feel at this point they're not entirely corrupt. They are assholes, but they're not entirely to the point they're going to, we must just devour all souls in the universe.
Well, that's
they're not at that stage yet.
Well, no, they haven't decided to do that, but I think their characters mean they would have done that at any point. You know, it wasn't them for. Here's the thing. There's a popular phrase like "power corrupts." I recently heard a phrase to sort of contest that phrase. Power doesn't corrupt, power reveals. And I think that's very much the nature of the Skeksis. Power revealed them personality-wise of what they really are. But anyway, so they're living in the Castle of the Crystal, and there's a bunch of Gelfling all over the place. And because most of the Gelfling are gone or dead in the original movie, we get a whole fucking bunch of Gelfling in this prequel. In fact, there's different tribes, different clans, all of them with different unique looks and designs and customs and feels to them. And when you look into the backstory of them, even greater purposes in their society. They're a matriarchal society ruled by different people called Mordras, and above them all, there's them all Mordra. It's really cool to see this fully developed society be introduced to us bit by bit. They could have just explained all of this in the beginning narration, but they don't. They allow us to discover it organically as the story goes on, which is fantastic.
It's wonderful.
It is absolutely wonderful. And we begin with two, well, more than two really, but focusing on two guards working in the Castle of the Crystal. And what I love about this show is in the credits, they give the voice actors and the puppeteers the same space. It's not like the puppeteers and then the voice actors later on down the credits. No, they share the credit for the character as the characters come up, as well they should. Because
exactly.
And Mark has been very kind in
I spent 2 hours writing out of the entire character list of the movie and the TV series.
Yes. Did you include the puppeteers in there as well?
I'm afraid not, but with that, well, some of them, but not all of them.
Not all of them. And I'm struggling to find a list for myself, and obviously can't go through it episode by episode. Well, I mean, we talked about some before: Kevin Clash, Louise Gold, Dave Others, but also there's people like Warwick Brownlow Pike, Dave Chapman, Daniel Dewhurst, Alice Dinnigan, Damien Farrell, Becky Henderson, Helena Smee, Catherine Smee, Neil Sterenberg, Ollie Taylor, and Victor Yerid, who is the he does many characters, but also is the voice and the puppeteering of the Podling Hup. And there's a Podling main character, which I love.
He's got a spoon.
He's got a spoon. But so these two castle guards are voiced by Taron Egerton, awesome, and also Alicia Vikander. Oh, did I mention that the voice cast for this is fucking A-list as fuck?
Yeah, no, crazy, isn't it?
We could go through all the characters as we go through, but I just want to just say some of these. The cast list, the voice acting list of this show includes, but not limited to, Taron Egerton, Alexandra Joy, Natalie Emmanuel, Donna Kimball, Eddie Izzard, Helen Bonham Carter, Toby Jones, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Lena Headey, Hannah John Carmen, Natalie Dormer, Mark Strong, Theo James, Jason Isaac, Simon Pegg, Aquafina, Benedict Wong, Harvey Firestein, Andy Samberg, Keegan Michael Key, Bill Hader, Sigourney Weaver, Victor Yerin, as I said before, Dave Goles, Olaf Dari Olafsson, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and motherfucking Mark Hamill!
Yay!
I mean, shit on a bed. Did God just descend from on high and said, Scott, what's your ideal cast? And then I gave him a list and he said, oh yes, this is doable. Oh my fucking God. I'm not familiar with all of these. Like, I'm not as familiar with Anna Taylor-Joy as I am with, say, Toby Jones. But shit on a bed, on a cracker, on a pogo stick, this is awesome.
You can say that again.
I won't, because, dear God, we've only got so much time. We can't gush the whole time. So, Alicia Vikander and Taron Egerton play Mira and Rian, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Mira. Mira's a bit similar to Kira, but who cares? Let's just get the story going. And they're clearly in love. Uh-oh, he's got a lovable friend, Gurjin. I like Gurjin. Gurjin is funny. And, we can see that these gelflings know a lot about dream fasting, which kind of got... Like, I love in the movie how they just touch, the two gelflings just touch hands, and the Kira is just like, we're dream fasting, we're sharing memories. Even though I don't remember, like, my family, and I don't know. But here they just, like, they explore a bit more. We get a visual, cool representation of the dream fasting and everything, and it's a lot of fun. However, then they're interrupted by, Arathim? That's a bit similar to Garathim, but they don't look the same. They call them spitters, the big spider things that scuttle throughout the castle. And they're basically just there to serve the Lords of the Crystals, the Skeksis. Now, in the Dark Crystal creation myths, it's revealed that there are 18 Urskeks. So there's 18 Skeksis and 18 Mystics. However, by the time of the Dark Crystal, there's only 10 left. So there's some people that were clearly not going to make it the whole way through, and some of the characters' names are different. Some of them cast over, like Keegan-Michael Key plays the Ritual Master, Mark Hamill plays the Scientist, and both of those characters transfer over to the movie, as do many other characters that don't get named specifically in the movie. But some of them seem a bit different. But it's okay, because all of these actors, the ones who do transfer over, imitate their voices pretty damn well. Most notably Keegan-Michael Key as the Ritual person, and also Simon Pegg as the Chamberlain. Dear sweet fucking God, I knew Simon Pegg was in this. I didn't know which character he was playing, and I did not recognize his voice when he spoke as the Chamberlain, because yeah, he sounds exactly like the Chamberlain.
Oh, Chamberlain's bang on accurate with Simon Pegg's performance. I think the Chamberlain was the most expressive character in the movie, and they carry it off so well here in the TV show.
It is absolutely fantastic. 10 out of 10. If you'd have presented me with 3 random names and said who voiced this character, I would say I don't know. Like, you never... Simon Pegg, he is voice actor before. You never think of him as a voice actor. You think of him just as not just as an actor. He's a very good actor. But as an actor, he did a great job. And you see him, in the Call of the Crystal documentary, doing the voice. And it's just like, oh, God, how? It's so great. It's so great. All the voice actors are great in this. But in terms of matching that with the movie, like, because it was a completely different voice actor whose name escapes me in that movie, it's spot on, it's bang on, it's perfect. Let's move on. And
One character that confused me was the general, voiced by Benedict Wong, because it turns out he's a completely different character from the other general who appears in the movie. It's like, but you have the exact same voice, you look like him, so why are you suddenly now a different character?
I'm sure that'll explain later on. Like, the people, I put a lot of trust, and the people who made this show all loved the movie. They knew what they were doing. Second season, last time we heard, was being under consideration. Whether we get a second season or not, I don't know. But there's still a gap between the events of this show and the events of the movie. So anything can happen. Like, generals get promoted all the time. Someone else could become general. And there's probably some other Skeksis that we haven't seen in this show who are out doing their own thing. So, you know. And so meanwhile, so Rian, however, is getting on with Mira because they're kind of in love. Oh, but his dad, voiced by Mark Strong, and I love how Taron Egerton and Mark Strong are together again after Kingsman. His dad, Tolan, was it Tolan? No, it's Ordon. Ordon. And they don't have the best relationship. And God, there's so much to go through. I don't even. Should we even do? We usually for these things, Capers, do an episode by episode recap. But these are an hour long and there's 10 of them. Are we going to be able to cover all the relevant information, Mark? So, we've established a few Gelflings. Other Gelflings we need to keep an eye out for are Bria, an intellectual princess who's a couple of rungs down the line for the throne. Do not fucking make a Beauty and the Beast reference or I'll kick you.
I won't.
Yeah. And she's great. She's really interested in her studies under this librarian, voiced by Toby Jones. And also, her mum is Helena Bonham Carter. And her
who isn't crazy for once.
And her sister, she's got two sisters, Tavra and Celadon. And Celadon is voiced by Gugu Mbatha Raw, who, outside of the Skeksis, I hated this character, but you're supposed to hate this character. It's not a badly written character, but I really hated it, and we're getting into why later.
I want to beat her over the head with a stick, saying, "For God's sake, you idiot! They're bad guys."
Obviously, bad guys. Jeez.
Let's have a sign like we are evil, which they actually end up telling her later on.
Which they did. Yeah. Oh, it's that. I mean, that it's a horrible scene for the character in terms of her whole world being shattered, but it was very satisfying for me. But we'll get onto that later. Point is, and also another Gelfling we need to keep an eye out for is Deet, voiced by Natalie Emmanuel, who is the sweetest, most cherubic angel that's ever lived for now.
Best character in the show.
I mean, here's the thing. Deet is a very sweet, gentle, somewhat naive character, and I was really worried that that characterization, particularly in the naivete, was going to rub me the wrong way over the course of the show. And it very nearly did, but it didn't. Like, it came close to annoying me, but it didn't annoy me. It's great, and she's lovely. So,
sweet.
It's a credit to both Natalie Emmanuel's character, the puppeteer that did her, and it was Becky Henderson who did Deet, and also the way she was written. I gotta say, this many people wrote on the showrunners for this were what were their names? Okay, so this was developed. Like most of the ideas for the show came from Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews, two people who didn't have, according to the documentary again I watched, didn't have much experience in TV, but they had such great ideas that damn right they're going to bring it on. And other episodes written by people like J.M. Lee, who has written some graphic novels and some actual novels for it. Vivian Lee, Saran Rasiapa, I don't know how you say his name. Richard Elliott, Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews again. Kari Drake. One of the producers, Javier Grillo Marzouk. I'm sorry
Mr. McAwesome name.
That is an awesome name that I cannot pronounce, presumably. I do apologise. Margaret Dunlap as well. But all of the episodes were directed by the most unlikely of fellows, Louis Leterrier. Leterrier. That's how you pronounce his name, sorry. And you might be familiar with his name, but you might not know exactly what he's done. I'll tell you what he's done. He did 2 of the Transporter movies, Clash of the Titans, Now You See Me, the god-awful Grimsby, and the Incredible Hulk movie. A more weird person to choose to direct this show I could not have picked. However, he fucking knocks it out of the park. When you look at the documentary and look at how his approach to working with the puppets and the puppeteers and the voice actors and everything, he was clearly the right person for the job. He did an absolutely amazing job, and it shows in every aspect of the show. But anyway, so those are some behind the scenes. Those are some of the Gelflings. What about the Skeksis? Well, you see, the Skeksis are all about preserving their own life, as established in the original movie. So they've been using the power of the Dark Crystal to get its energy away from Thra and rejuvenate themselves. But the crystal has stopped doing that all of a sudden. I mean, for God's sake, you don't even charging it up at the wall. What are you surprised? But at least put it on low battery mode, guys. Come on, be a bit green. And so the Skeksis Emperor, voiced by Jason Isaacs, voices the scientist, voiced by Mark Hamill, whose name is Skek Tech, which is perfect name for a Skeksis scientist. Just want to say, okay, like, find other ways of giving us immortality. No small speed, get to it, shoo. And the scientist accidentally finds out the crystal can be used to siphon other beings' essence for the Skeksis' own consumption to allow them to reinvigorate themselves more than the crystal ever could. And he performs this experiment on this mirror Gelfling whilst Rien watches from the shadows. Oh shit, oh no, the whole society is based on the Gelflings serving them. Like, we get scenes of them giving them tithes and stuff like that, and they're clearly like taking a lot of stuff for themselves, not giving a lot of stuff back. And so if the secret gets out that they're going to like absorb the essence of Gelflings, the whole society is going to crumble. Oh shit, so they got to get Rien back and stop this message from spreading. So they tell his dad, hey, so your son has gone cray-cray, and so you need to go and bring him back here, because otherwise, yeah, because he's basically like turned traitor and stuff, and it's all in his head. Don't dream fast with him and see his memories, or you'll go crazy too. And
one thing I did like is when they first zapped Mira, I liked that the Skeksis were actually horrified by it.
Well, because it was new to them. It wasn't that they were horrified, it's that they didn't know what was going on. You giving the Skeksis... Are you a Skeksis apologist?
I like the Chamberlain.
I like him too, in the same way I like Emperor Palpatine. I don't think he's a good guy. Like,
it's always good to find... Despite being absolute monsters, there is still humanity to be found in the Skeksis.
Well, a little bit here and there, but that makes them interesting characters. It doesn't necessarily make them sympathetic.
They're not sympathetic. I'm just surprised. I was impressed and surprised that they would react in horror to something which they were later come to be pretty much addicted to.
Yeah, well, I'm not even sure that was horror, but that's up to interpretation, I guess. And so Rien escapes enjoying the castle. Meanwhile, in the caves of Grot, because there's so many different types of Gelfling, and Deet is one of the Grotten Gelflings. And so she's got different skin tone, different eyes. Like, I like how the pupils and the irises and stuff are all different for her, because she's living underground. They're a subterranean variant of Gelfling. So naturally, their physiology is going to be somewhat different. I like that. And she's really good with animals. She takes care of all the animals. But there's a thing called the Nothing. I mean the Darkening.
Wrong franchise.
Wrong fantasy story.
Where's Falcor?
No, that's infecting the animals, and it's making them all purpley and weird. And oh no, is this the goo from Winova Up? Goovily no!
Look out, they're turning to shadow Pokemon.
Oh god! And so it's making them go a bit crazy. Meanwhile, Breya in, I guess, the Gelfling capital, hurrah, because it's ruled over by the Vaprin clan, or like the most important clan, fucking Gelfling Aristos. discovers this symbol in her books, and it's like, oh, this isn't a symbol. What's that? And no one's giving her a straight answer. So, oh shit! And she gets to do a whole thing with meeting a few of the Skeksis who are collecting tithes. This is the Scroll Keeper, who's voiced by Neil Sterenberg, and the Collector, voiced by Awkwafina of all people. Like, I know she's getting a much bigger presence in the film industry now, as well she should. She's a very good actor, but I just think I think it's kind of weird that a person called Awkwafina is in a dark fantasy story. But then again, I don't really care.
And holy hell, the Collector really needs a tissue.
Yeah, she's all like diseased and stuff. She's got like boiling pustules. And Aquafina, I swear, in my mind, she was like sort of channeling Rita Repulsa. She kind of sounded like a bit like that, a bit lower in terms of register, but still, there's that.
After 10,000 years, I'm free. It's time to conquer Fra.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, but it's a lot of fun. And we see the power dynamics between the All-Mordren, the Gelflings, and the Skeksis, and it's really great. I almost don't want to talk about this too much, because usually on the show, when we're talking about a show like this, we're explaining how bad it is, or a movie how bad it is, and so I want to explain, Capers, why you shouldn't go and watch this, but I want you to go and watch this, so I don't want to give too much away. Mm-hmm. But then again, we did have a spoiler tag, so you know what you're in for. And I can't remember exactly how it happens, but Brea summons like a big explosion of symbols that cause a big whirly symbol to appear in the library. It's really fucking cool. And there is CGI in this show, but it's really, really good CGI.
It's pretty good.
It's minimal. What their philosophy was: what can we do with puppetry and animatronics? What can we absolutely not do with puppetry and animatronics? Are we sure? Are we absolutely sure? Let's try it. It didn't work. Okay, CGI. And it works well, I think.
Works very well.
It does indeed. And I say the CGI, I would say, is better than in some other fantasy shows, even.
Example?
Game of Thrones.
Dragons aren't bad. Dragons are pretty good.
They're right.
That's where the budget went.
That is where the that is where the budget went. Yeah. And so,
Deet meets her spoon friend.
Oh yeah. So she meets this talking tree.
That
ironically does not sing her a song about listening with her heart, and how should you totally get with John Smith?
No. Let's go to the Temple of Time.
No. No. It talks to her about the darkening, big problems here. Like, you've got to leave your family, go up topside, and deal with that whole thing. She goes a little journey and meets a podling named Hup, who thankfully does not speak entirely in podling lingo. Knows a few like words of English here and there. And the podlings was very much background characters in the original movie. Here they take a bit more centre stage, not that much, but still a bit more, especially with the character of Hup, whom I absolutely adore. He wants to be a paladin, like a Gelfling knight, but he doesn't have a sword. He has a spoon, and he wields that spoon like a champion.
Spoon! Beware the spoon. You'll gouge your eyes out.
He took inspiration from the Tick, presumably, and uses that spoon to its full might, and he's awesome. I absolutely love Hup. He's great. I love the relationship between him and Deet. It's really lovely. He helps guide her through this stuff that she doesn't know about. She doesn't know about the animals and the wildlife and the flora and the fauna of the upside world of Fra. So he helps her through that, which is great. And they're both going to Hurrah to inform the Vapra of... Vapra? I can't remember. Of everything that's going on with the Darkening, as well as him becoming a paladin. Meanwhile, while, as we said earlier, all this time, Aughra has been sleeping, kind of, and just like astrally projecting herself amongst the stars. She comes back just like, oh, what's going on? And I mean, so Aughra was originally voiced by Billy Whitelaw, who's sadly no longer with us. But she was this time voiced by Donna Kimball, an actor who I know nothing about, but I would like to see her with more stuff because fucking hell, she again nails the voice. It's Aughra.
Damn straight.
It's really, really great. And I just love how that she's this ancient, otherworldly, and yet very much worldly creature who's very a part of this world, but she does not give a shit.
Grumpy old lady with one eye.
Basically, and you know what's interesting? She says in the show that she was born old, and in the Dark Crystal creation myths, she was in fact born old. Like she has the way she looks in the movie and in the TV show, she's looked like that her whole life. So
Benjamin Button.
No, not even that. She doesn't. Benjamin Button aged backwards. She doesn't age at all. She's just old and always has been. But meanwhile, while that is going on, there's so many different side tangents. Breya wants to find out more about this symbol, but no one will give her any answers. And her sister is dismissive of her, and her mother is just like, what are we going to do with you? So she goes to another clan, the Sifa clan, who are meant to be like secret keepers and sailors and a bit sneaky, to ask them for help. And she goes to the elder, Cadia, voiced by Eddie Izzard, who does a Scottish accent that I could listen to all fucking day. It's so beautifully melodic. I love it. And he's like, oh, this symbol. I can tell you about the symbol. Here, do you want a drink? And she's like, okay. Oh, what's that over there? Switch the drinks around. And he's like, okay. Oh, hello. Who are you? Who am I? Hello. And he does that for the rest of the entire show. He like pops up here and there, just saying the word hello over and over again. And it's revealed that he put like a memory wiping powder in her drink that she then switched, and now he's forgotten everything. And it's kind of funny. Meanwhile, his apprentice, Annika, voiced by Natalie Dormer, presumably not so much making up for her time in Game of Thrones, but making up for her time in Mass Effect Andromeda,
Ouch.
basically says, okay, if you bring me the brightest jewel in the old Mordra's chambers, I'll give you the answers you seek. Meanwhile, back at the castle, Rian is labelled a murderer. The Skeksis say, he murdered Amira. Oh, what a calamity. Go find him, but don't listen to him. Don't fucking listen to a word he says. And he meets up with Gurgen, his friend, and goes like, what's going on? He's just like, dream fast with me, I'll tell you everything. Okay, fine. Mind meld. And now he knows everything. And so they grab the vial of Mira's essence as proof that the Skeksis have done something horrible. But Gurgen gets captured, and Brienne escapes by jumping out of a fucking window, sliding down the parapet of the castle, and diving into the lake. What's interesting about the nature of the castle is the castle of the crystal looks exactly the same as it did in the movie. However, the surrounding lands still look a bit green and a little bit fertile, as opposed to the movie, where the true damage the Skeksis have done is apparent in how evil and barren looking the castle is. So I like how they're showing a bit more progression in terms of how bad they're gonna fuck Fra.
So that's where Scar got his inspiration from. Destroyed a whole kingdom because he rules the world.
Don't get me fucking started. I can't. No. I've mentioned Lion King once in this review. I'm not going to do that again. So one of the chamber. Is it the Chamberlain? The Chamberlain. Yeah, the Chamberlain. Here's the thing. The characters are referred to like by their titles and their names, like Skekso, Skektek, Skeksil, and we also know them as the Chamberlain because that's a great way to differentiate them, and so it can get a bit confusing at times. At least when you're reading about it, not so much when you're watching it. But anyway, the Chamberlain spins a story about his escape so that the scientist is blamed. So he gets his eye fucking eaten by a creature called the Peeper Beetle, which is way too twee a name for a creature that eats eyeballs. And later on, we see him having augmented his face with a techno eye sort of thing, like in the movie. And it's a cool reveal. It's really cool.
Pretty cool, though. I wouldn't want to have my eye taken out by a bug.
Nope, but then he's a scientist, so he don't give a fuck. He's just like, no, there's an obstacle. bionic eye. Why not? And so, meanwhile, Deet and Hup then go to the another clan called the Stonewood clan, which is the clan that Rian is from, and they're like, okay, we'll speak to the Mordra here about the Darkening and all the stuff that's going on our way to Hurrah. Like, this will be a good pit stop. Only it turns out the Skeksis have kind of sown the seeds of mistrust and discord between the clans. So the clans don't really like each other that much, and when they see a filthy, rotten Skelfling in amongst the Stonewood village, they just straight up insult Deet, which is heartbreaking because she's so nice to everyone. And Hup tries to stop them from doing so. Things get a bit violent, and he gets thrown in the rascal hole, which is a very twee way of saying jail. I mean, it's jail, but it's called the rascal hole. I wouldn't mind spending a night in the rascal hole. Oh wait, this is prison, and I'm standing next to a stabby man called Stabby Jim. I don't know. No.
This is my friend Butch McDick. And over there is Michael Bay.
Michael Bay is, well, I know he deserves
it. No, he blasts his way out.
I don't know what goes on in your head sometimes, Mark, but you know what? It's a treasure, never change.
There's some very interesting people in my type of prison.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Skeksil, as a way to making things up to the scientist, the Chamberlain, as a way to making things up to the scientist, provides him with two assistants, Gruanek, who are little podling-esque creatures who are thought to be wiped out, but there's two left. Only to avoid the secrets getting out, they've had their mouths sewn shut.
Lovely.
And they can speak, but like, because their mouths have been shown shut. Do you want me to mention it again? Their mouths have been shown shut.
A family show.
It's I love the show, but and okay, so oh god, and
happy thoughts.
So then Breya is like saying, okay, so Breya's mum is just like, okay, so you wiped out the memories of an elder of an entire clan? Yeah, no, you're going to join the Order of Lesser Services. What the hell is that? It's basically like community service for gelflings. They wear jingly belly hats and go around doing horrible jobs no one wants, including, for some reason which I still cannot fathom, cleaning an entire village of podlings that do not want to have a bath. And you know what? I love how they kept some of the humor in this show. I really do. I'm just wondering, like, why anyone would choose. I know it's the Order of Lesser Service, but like, they clearly don't want a bath, and it doesn't really affect the gelflings, so why would they do this? I don't know. But it's a fucking hilarious scene, seeing all these podlings run around half naked. Yeah, we see a bit of podling arse. We get a little bit of a flash of a podling's arse. You know, what of it? They are as Thra made them. But Breya sneaks away from them because she is had up to here, and she's got a time window when she's got to get the brightest jewel back to Onika. And she runs into her other sister, other than Celadon, Tavra, who says, like, okay, turns out there's a murder on the loose from the castle, and I've been sent on a mission to get it, but don't worry, I'm not going to say anything about you being here because I'm the cool sister. Breya then goes back to Hurrah, acquires the greatest jewel, which is actually the chrysalis for this creature, the Unimoth. I love how there's, like, here's the thing, in the original movie, we saw lots of scenes with lots of different creatures, like, just rolling around in the background or in the foreground and doing all sorts of cool shit. Here we have the same thing, but we get a bit more of an insight into them. They get named because there's characters around who know what they are to name them. And it's great, and it's really, really cool. Takes it to Onika, and the Unimoth hatches, and it leads her to a secret passage underneath her mother's throne.
Guess the cleaners never found that.
Yeah. And it's revealed underneath the hidden chamber there's a bit of a puzzle going on in terms of all these sigils for the clans, and she's got to figure it out. And when she does, she summons, like, this sort of like golem-like creature. It's like made up of lots of different loose stones that swirl together and form to form this creature called Law, who is not related to Brent Spiner. And I will make all the connections. There's no pop culture reference I will not make. And it's so cool. He's got like
a record
player hand that's got a recorded message from someone who sounds a lot like Frank Oz but isn't. We'll get on to him later. And it explains how she's got to go to this place called the Circle of the Suns to get something else. Well, I'm just sitting here wondering, like, okay, this is like a main quest then. This isn't a side quest. There's a lot of stages to this. Okay. And meanwhile, Celadon jumps in and she goes into full bitch mode, and I hate her. Fuck Celadon. And, oh god. Meanwhile, while that's going on, Deet frees Hup from the rascal hole by pretending to be a monster, using her flying powers, because girl gelflings can fly. And while all this is going on, Augra is wandering through the woods and gets shot at by an archer. Katniss. But no.
No.
And at first you think she's under attack. No. What actually is going on is she's being targeted by a member of the Mystics called the Archer, who then she tracks down and is like, okay, so what's going on here? He's like, you need to learn about Thrall's song or some bullshit. I don't know. I'm tired. And she's like, okay, and she spends the remainder of the episode trying to reconnect with Thrall due to a Doctor Stranging it out in space. And while that's going on, the Chamberlain, in order to recapture Rian, summons this Skeksis called Skekmal, the Hunter, character we haven't seen before, who's fucking scary.
He's cool though. He reminds me of the Transformers character Lockdown, who's very similar as a character. He's very he's voiced by Lance Henriksen, so that makes it more awesome. He's very cold and obsessed with the hunt, and I want to take my trophy and shove it up my ass and things like that.
I think you might be exaggerating somewhat, but okay.
I am. He's wearing Cubone skull.
Basically, yes, he's wearing all sorts of shit on his body, like bones and shit. He's really cool. And he does this because the Chamberlain was originally the Emperor's right-hand man, but he got replaced by the General, voiced by Benedict Wong, as you said earlier. So, and the Chamberlain is all about sneaks and plots and power shifts and social climbing. And so it's interesting to see him literally play the Game of Thrones. Like that's what he does, and he does it very well in this show. I was
like evil Tyrion.
Kind of, yeah.
If
well, no, Tyrion's got way more charisma than him.
If Tyrion went by way of Starscream, I suppose.
I put him more like in the Qyburn era, or maybe not. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's why he's doing that, and while they're doing all that, at this point the Skeksis have pretty much become hooked on essence.
Mm-hmm.
And they love that shit. So they've sent out a bunch of the Ritual Keeper and one of the other ones to go to all the Skeksis places and recruit volunteers, supposedly to hunt down like monsters or Arathim or something like that. But actually they're going to be used in the essence things. They go to Hurrah to get the volunteers, but at this point Brea has talked about everything with her mum, and Dita's shown up with Hup to explain everything, and everyone's been dream fasting. Like Rian has been doing it with Gurjin and his sister Naya and a new girlfriend called Kylan, plus Tavra, plus his dad who's showed up to finally get him, but there's so many characters, so many plot points, dear God, but it's all worth it. Because everything gets explained, it's realised, oh shit, the Skeksis are evil, we need to do something. The rebellion is unofficially born. At this point, also, like, the hunter shows up, and it's seemingly killed after Ordon pushes them onto, like, this bed of these creatures called gobblers that suck them into the earth. But then the hunter survives, grabs Rian, and runs off. And it's a whole shit thing.
His dad gets eaten. That's a horrible way to go out.
It's a horrible way to go out. They all reconvene, like I said, and Helena Bonham Carter, or Mordra, stands up to the Skeksis and says, nope, we're not going to give you any fucking volunteers. Oh, okay, then fair enough. Also, stab!
Die.
And Celadon, weeping over her mother's dead body, blames not the person who fucking killed her, but her sister, because she's a stupid bitch.
And she goes all evil Galadriel on everybody.
She starts dressing like Mia Sara's character in Legend after she gets abducted by the demon Tim Curry. You know that movie?
I'm a big fan of that one.
Where she dresses in all black and puts on a like volunteers to have a unibrow. It's kind of like that. It's her goth phase basically, and it's weird. And she basically blames everyone's problems on everyone but the Skeksis, because she's one of those people that's just blindly loyal to the Skeksis because it's all she knows, is she's all about the rules and stuff. She's that kind of moron.
Mm-hmm.
I think we may have skipped over some stuff, but dear God, I'm just trying to get through this.
Rian and co then free the paladins they were going to sacrifice to the Skeksis.
Oh yeah, before that happens, Rian is handed over by the hunter to the Chamberlain, and they have a very interesting conversation.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
There's a big whole carriage thing they have that's done by like rolling like weevil creatures. It's really cool, and they have a conversation in this carriage thing about the nature of like slavery and freedom and agency and life and death, and you could see the Chamberlain is such a well-written character because he's clearly playing the mind games, and they kind of work on Rian. But then you wonder, is he right or is he wrong? No, he's definitely wrong, isn't he? And it's a very persuasive argument that he makes. I won't go into too many details, partly because I can't remember it word for word, but also because I want you to listen to it for yourself, Gabers, and make your own decision. So it's very good. But then other Gelflings find him, free him, and the other captured Gelflings who are starting to suspect, you know what, I'm thinking that something weird is going on after we were imprisoned in this little ball thing on the side of this carriage. And they escape, and it's a really, really cool sequence where this carriage crashes. And basically, at this point, they've all got a plan. Like, okay, so we need to find this thing called the Dual Glaive, which is this sword that is supposed to going to solve all our problems and help us stop the Skeksis. Actually, no, I take that back. That's later. No, they need to get to the Circle of the Suns. We still need to get there. Dear God, we're only
we should have made bullet points.
We're only halfway through. Sweet motherfucking God. What happens next?
Rian, Deet, Bree, Hup, is it Gurgi? Gurgin?
No. What happens before that is the Crystal Guard get word of how the Skeksis are the ones to blame, and they're like, okay, fine, alright, let's go and fucking kick their asses, except it's hinted at and later confirmed that one of the guard betrays them, and so they all get fucking drained and turned into essence, and it's pretty fucking horrifying.
It's like, I was loyal to you, and now you shall you shall be rewarded with death.
Basically, yeah. And
then the what the blasted things, the scientist minions cut their mouths open, don't they, with knives?
That happens later.
We're jumping all over the place.
Yeah. Yes. So then the Skeksis decide to attack Stone in the Wood, which is led by Lena Headey's Mordra. And while that is all going on, there's so many stuff capers.
Cersei then goes to give her blessing to Celadon the Idiot. And
that's the thing to see. There's a crown that the old Mordra has, and they like disassemble it, send the pieces out to all the other Mordras. The Mordras then come back, and say, here, have my bit back with my blessing, seems like a bit of a roundabout way to go about, like a kind of waste of everyone's time. Just like send a letter, like saying, nope, you're all right with me. No need to like stamps are expensive, but
it's like cutting the crown jewels in pieces and sending them off for all the Commonwealth.
Yeah, but two of the Immortals, including Lena Headey's character, basically say, you know what, nope, we don't think you're good, we think you're kind of crappy, like I know you've been bred for this your whole life, but your attitude is severely lacking, missy, and so let's fight for it, except we never see the fight for it, because she basically, this is where Celadon says, okay, you know what, screw you guys, screw the crown, I've got my new glam look that I got from Hot Topic.
It was run by Maleficent.
Basically, yeah. And she's just like, fuck all of you, I'm all Mordred, you don't like it, you're traitors, and you're gonna fucking die. Meanwhile, that's going on. Rian, Deet, Brea, Hupp, and a bunch of others meet with this Doosan clan, led by Theo James voiced character called Rekier, who a lot of people immediately distrust, and they say it's because the Doosans are all like dour and grim. They're not that dour and grim, and also I think it's just because Rekier is kind of handsome.
And he has a giant flying CGI manta ray.
He does, and it's fucking awesome. And it says, like, you want to go to the Circle of the Suns? Jesus, even we don't go there. You sure you don't want to go to, like, the Oasis or some shit? It's like, nope, Circle of the Suns. It's like, alright, fine. And they go to the Circle of the Suns, and they nearly get stuck in a thunderstorm, but they manage to make it up to the top of this big, huge tower thing. They get in there, and they're greeted by a Skeksis voiced by Andy Samberg.
The heretic.
The heretic, and Andy Samberg, great actor. Didn't think of him as a voice actor again, but you don't think as much of a voice actor. His voice, you can kind of tell it's him. It's not quite like on Simon Pegg's level, but not by much. It's really, really good. And it turns out he's a quote-unquote good Skeksis who's teamed up with his mystic counterpart, Ergo, the Wanderer, voiced by Bill Hader, who takes a fucking eternity to say everything, and their back and forth is funny. It's fucking funny. I love it.
Come on, say the word!
Yeah, and it's like they're an old married couple. I absolutely adore them, and the back and forth is great. And they clearly show signs of like the mystic side and the Skeksis side, but they realize, like, you know what? We were once Skeks, this alien being who was once whole, and we should be whole again. And some of the other Skeksis show signs of like regret over the fact that they're split, and others less so. But even the ones that feel regret don't really feel that much regret. Mm-hmm. So so it's really cool to see these two characters who are supposed to be on opposite sides working together and collaborating, and it's just really, really cool. And they basically give the backstory of all the lore that we already know at this point to the Gelflings. They used to be one race, but they got splintered, the crystal cracked, there's a whole shit that's going on, and because the Skeksis are corrupting the crystal, it's causing the darkening, and they do it with puppetry. Like, they spent so long waiting for these guys to show up, they basically just put on a show for them. It's fucking hilarious. And so they tell them, in order for us to do all of this, we need the dual glaive. This is when they get the dual glaive, like two swords, put them into one, and it's like better than all the keyblades in the world. It's great.
This is like Zelda. They got to go get a magic sword now.
Name one fantasy story that doesn't on some level involve a magic sword.
No. I don't believe Neverending Story has a magic sword. It doesn't. I win.
In the book.
No, there's no magic sword. I don't know. Is there a magic sword?
In the book, there's magic swords, I think.
Labyrinth doesn't have a magic sword.
Well, there's a sword run by the like fox-like character that rides the dog.
That's not a magic sword, though. It's just a sword.
Okay, so that's one. Congratulations, you thought of one. We don't have time to go through the entire 80s fantasy catalogue. Okay, let's
I'm gonna look at TV tropes later and find one that isn't got a magic sword.
No. So
yes.
And so they say, okay, so you need to sort of this shit out. But at that point, they're ambushed by the hunter Skeksis, who severely injures the archer counterpart who shows up at the last second, as well as Hup, and escapes by kidnapping Brea. It's a whole shit. And meanwhile, while all this is going on, the Skeksis Emperor goes to the Aratham, these big spider creatures, and says, okay, so you know how we used to be at war and shit? Well, if you help us take down the Stonewood Gelflings, we will give you back your home, the Caves of Grot. And the spider creatures are just like, well, seeing as there's no giant bearded man to give us a forest to live in, I guess we have to do what you say. I am making all the fucking references, tick it off. And so what they do is they send out these little tiny bug creatures that attach themselves on and put them into their hive mind. I'm not going to do a Star Trek reference because I already did one of those. Mm-hmm. And they basically send people, all these gelflings, to the castle to get drained and absorbed and turned into essence. And it's kind of horrifying. And a lot of them get done that way, including Tavra and Lena Headey's character and all sorts. And it's revealed that part of the dual glaive, one part of the dual glaive, is in the Caves of Grot. So Rian and Deet go through one of the tunnels to Grot to find that the whole place has been taken over by Arathim, including her family, including her two dads, which is great. It's just kind of, it's back, it's incidental, it's back there, and it's not really worth commenting on. It's great there's a bit of representation. As well as her little brother Bobbin. Oh no!
Not the child.
But they end up talking with the Arathim, and after they save one of them from big bug creatures that have been affected by the Darkening, they said, the Skeksis, right, lied to you because this place is infected with the Darkening. So like, hey, work with us, and seeing as how apparently you guys were here before the Gelfling were, and the Skeksis gave it to the Gelfling, we'll leave, we'll let you live here. And the Arathim is just like, yeah, alright, sounds good. Like, skipping over the fact that they led dozens, if not hundreds, of Gelfling to their death. But anyway. And so the Alliance is getting a bit more strong support. It's really good. And while this is going on, the Darkening starts to attack even further. And the Sanctuary Tree, in order to give them time to escape, gives Deet this sort of power to sort of absorb the Darkening. It's like, I don't know if this is a gift or a curse. And she's like, well, maybe I should think about it. Oh, power! And while all this is going, Celadon goes in a new Skeksis-inspired get-up to the castle and says, hey, Skeksis, let's take down these traitors together. And they're like, no! Well, then let's crush the traitors. No! Let's not drain them. No! Let's only drain a few of them. No! I'm screwed, aren't I? Yes!
Yes.
And it's just great to see this character's whole pathetic world crumble before our eyes, and it's revealed what these horrible, and it's horrible and heartbreaking, and the character does get a sort of redemption later on, kind of, but just like, yeah, you believed in evil vulture creatures that were so obviously evil, and now you're paying for it. I wonder if we could draw any real-life parallels between political figures that were now believed in, but later on turn out to have been obviously evil. I wonder if we could think of anyone who fits that description.
And what's the most bad thing is, after they pretty much tell her that they're evil, she still is willing to give them the sacrifice volunteers.
And they comment on this, so it's like, holy shit, you're willing to give up your own people? That's cold. Like, we're evil, and even we think that's cold.
We're evil, but not that evil.
No, they are that evil. They're just recognizing...
We're that evil, come on,
Stop sympathizing with the Skeksis, you bastard!
Don't be rude.
You keep it... Come on! They're evil vulture creatures. Don't tell me you're falling into the same trap Celadon is.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, the hunter returns to the castle with Brea, but he's like severely wounded and he's dying. And the Skeksis are like, oh shit, all of our power is based on the fact that we're supposed to be functionally immortal. If he dies, this is really gonna be bad. This is really gonna be fucking bad. And so they're like, save his life at any cost, scientist. And it's just like, okay, I'm just going to put away this DNR, all right. And Augur, meanwhile, is just like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to the castle. And so Reen and Deet have escaped from the crystal, from the caves rather, and just like, but we still need to go back for the dual glaive. And like the Mordra of the Groton Gelfling is just like, that's okay. I had it in my stick the whole time. Yeah. And just breaks her stick open and hands over this giant sword in her stick. Just like, really? Really? Okay, yeah, sure. Put a bunch of wood around this priceless artifact. Let's go to, like, a box. A box, Mordra. Couldn't that have worked? Like, take it out, maybe polish it or sharpen it? No. You had to use it to walk, you gammy, senile old gelfling. Meanwhile, they discover that the other half of the glaive is hidden at Stone in the Wood. Oh shit, we've only got so many sets we can go to. Let's go back there. And meanwhile, back at the castle, Augur turns up and says, oh shit, there's a lot of gelflings being captive here. Hey, I've got an idea. You can have my essence, the oldest living creature in Thra, that's very much Thra itself in a way, to revive Skekmal if you let all of them go. And the Emperor's just like, yeah, okay, fine. BT dubs, kill the prisoners the minute they get out of their eyesight. And at this point, Tavra is like permanently bonded with all the Arathim, but it's okay. It's like a corporation. It's less Borg and more Trill, if you will. And so she managed to get a bunch of people out and managed to injure the general before being basically killed by the Chamberlain. Oh dear, I like Tavra. But then the Chamberlain's like, hey, I've got a vial of essence over here that could be used to heal you, not letting on to the fact that I've been withholding essence from you secretly using this backdoor deal I made with the sewn shut lips people. And it's interesting how he uses the political factions to gain favor with people that were previously his enemies and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. And so Augur then gets fucking drained and evaporates. Oh no, it's not like we see her in the movie, so we know she comes back. But we don't know how she's going to come back. And they try to use her essence to bring the hunter back from death. It does not work. But he doesn't crumble to dust like the Skeksis are supposed to do, so... And so they think, okay, so we need to do something to honor our fallen friend. Let's put him up like a puppet in the main chamber. It's like taxiderming your friend.
The one bit I did like, in a totally non-sympathetic way, is that the Emperor tells the ritual master to prepare the ritual. It's like, we don't have a ritual, we haven't died before.
Well, make one up then. Jeez.
Let's just make him a taxiderm puppet and then have a banquet in his name. Hooray.
Yeah. Oh, God. And then he says, okay, so let's use all these corpses of the Arathim to get a much better army. Because, like, we're really powerful and shit, but we can clearly be wounded and clearly can be killed, and let's get an army to do it for us, eh? Rian managed to go to Stone and Wood with Deet and gets the dual glaive reunited. Boom! I have the power! And he basically sends out a big, huge message for the fire that suddenly turns blue and says, okay, is this Skype call working? Hello, everyone? Good Wi-Fi? Okay, great. Everyone, fight Skeksis. Woo! And Skeksis just, like, jump in on the call. Just like, conference call, bitches! Don't fight us! And he's like, oh no, we're all gonna fight you. And it seems to have worked. Who knows, though? And so the Emperor says, okay, we're gonna find the rebellion and we're gonna fucking crush them. Meanwhile, Brea's group, then having escaped from the castle, join Rian and Deet. And it's revealed this whole time that the Emperor has been using a crack in the castle to reach the Darkening, and is holding the power of the Darkening in a small crystal he has in his staff that we actually see in the movie. It's cool they got all that prop back. And the general's like, oh, I'm not sure this will work. And the Emperor is just like, oh no, it's going to work, even though it's causing me to, like, die prematurely. It's like it's doing horrible things to his body, like it's making his nose melt off and his nails fall off. It's really creepy.
No wonder he's the first one to go.
Yeah. Later in the actual movie, he actually does die. But, the Skeksis arrive, and there's just a few Gelfling there. And it's like, okay, let's go. You and me. General versus Rian. Let's do this. And the General's like, yep, okay, let's do it. Boop-a-doop-a-doo-doo, haha. Oh shit, he's got the dual glaive. But let's fight. And the fight scene, like, it's difficult to do a fight scene with a huge, giant Skeksis animatronic puppet thing that's worn. If you look at the documentary, it's worn by a person, like a backpack that's like covers them, and a puppet that maybe like a whole puppet body or just half a puppet body, whatever it is, for the Gelfling, and they make it look pretty cool. Like he flips around and stuff. Like it's pretty good. And it's done with clever camera angles and stuff. But the general gets wounded. Oh shit! And she's like, "Go on then, kill me." And Reen's like, "I'm not a killer." Really? I think if anyone would deserve it, but maybe he's like put off by the fact. Well, I mean, it's not explicitly told to him, as far as I can remember, that if a Skeksis or a Mystic dies, their counterpart also dies. Like that could have been a reason for him not to do it. Like, I don't want to kill a Mystic, but he doesn't do that. He just says, "I'm not a killer," and then a bit of power comes from the Skeksis that is wounded into a small crystal on the hilt of the dual glaive. And the general like wanders off like, "Oh, I'm defeated. Oh, this is really bad. Oh shit, where's the nearest hospital?" And then the Chamberlain's like, "Hello. Oh, Chamberlain, my friend, thank you. Could you please help me?" "Nope, stab!"
Heil Hitler! Hail Hydra! Boing!
God, yeah.
Psych!
And so, yeah, the general dies at the hands of the Chamberlain. Whoopsies, you probably could have used him later on, Chamberlain, if he's about to realise.
He stole his seat.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's really not happy about that. And all of the Skeksis fight, all of the Gelfling, big huge battle, bombs going off, swords clashing, it's great. But then, all the other clans will arrive. Look to the east!
Or in every direction, because they come in every direction.
Arathim are there. Clans we haven't seen a lot of before are there. Even mind-wiped Eddie Izzard Gelfling is there. Hello!
And Toby Jones shows up leading the army.
Yeah, it's great. And the Skeksis are like, "Oh shit, we're not going to win this, are we? Retreat! Run away! Run away!" And, but actually before that, the Emperor tries to unleash the Darkening upon them. But Deet absorbs it and redirects it into the Collector, voiced by Aquafina, causing her to fucking blow up.
I love that. Oh, that's not so bad. Kaboom!
Oh shit, she goes pop. And it turns out the reason that is, and that's not a good thing, because it seems like the Darkening is now like full on corrupting Deet. And early in this show, we got a brief vision of a scene with possibly Rian atop the Dark Crystal with the Crystal Shard, but Deet is sitting on the throne of the Skeksis and just like all darkened up, and it's just like, oh shit, what's going on here? Ugh. And I see her like veins all purple. She went the full Dark Willow. It's creepy.
Ugh.
But we don't know how that's going to affect her personality yet, and it's such a shame because she was like the most innocent character. But is she going to get corrupted? Who knows? But that's the thing. See, the dual glaive got destroyed in the battle with the Skeksis, and it's revealed that in the hilt there's a shard of the crystal. The shard of the crystal, in fact, that we see in the movie. Oh, okay, all right then. How the fuck did it end up there? Who knows? And Deet and Rian is just like tries to find Deet. Just like, "Deet, where are you going?" And she sees him and just like, "Nope, going away. Not gonna explain why. Probably something to do with the Darkening. Who knows?"
I quite like to look on her face like, "Don't come near me, or might end up killing you." Kind of look. It's really sad.
Yeah. While this has been going on, so the Skeksis retreat, while this has been going on, the Grunax have sort of staged their own little rebellion against the scientists because they were promised stuff by the Chamberlain in exchange for withholding essence, but he went back on the plan. They tried to escape and cut out their bonds, but it didn't work, and they end up both getting killed. But then, this leads them to aspire to graft a Grunak with an Arathim to create the Garthim, the things that are supposed to have wiped out the Gelfling. Oh shit, it's Crab People!
Oh my god!
He's created Mirelurks, run away!
Run away! Run away!
And that's the last episode. That's episode 10. And there's a lot of stuff we missed out. There's a lot of interesting character dynamics that I would love to go on into, but we just don't have the time. And
although there is one bit in Deet's vision where I may have been wrong, but did we see her running away with a baby?
We did. You're right. Is this possibly a much closer in terms of timeline to the events of the original movie? Yeah, we're like just a few decades, or maybe even just a few years away. Perhaps one of these characters is the father of either Jen or Kira. Who knows?
Well, I would theorize that Deet is Kira's mother because they both look similar and they have the connections of the animals.
And Jen looks very similar to Rian. So yeah, there's who knows. Now, a second season, as I said, is currently under consideration. I've seen second seasons get greenlit much quicker than this. I've seen second seasons get greenlit much slower. It really depends on the because here's the thing, this was a very expensive show to make. They knew it was going to be expensive going in and they were fine with it. But that's just one season. Are they going to be able to commit to this? Is Netflix and the Jim Henson Foundation, Jim Henson Creature Shop, going to be able to commit to this for further seasons? However, having said that, it's 90% Frosh and Rotten Tomatoes.
Give the green light right now.
I sincerely, emphatically hope that this is going to continue. If it doesn't continue, you know what? I'm fine. I'm thoroughly satisfied with this season. I want to see more. This show will not be ruined by us not seeing more. But if we could, that would be great. It could be 10 extra episodes. It could just be 5 or 6 something. I don't care. I do want to see more. This is a fantastic... Sorry?
I would be 100% on if they did a second season. Obviously, it's going to take a while because they just made 10 episodes, 40 minutes long with puppets. It's going to take a while, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, it took them a long time to do that. Well, actually, I say that. They had like in the documentary they said they had like however many sets, how many creature characters and stuff like that, and they had like 3 years to make it or plan it out. In this show, they had 6 months.
Wow.
And considering the time frame we had between the first trailer and the premiere, I mean, it does take a long time. So it's going to be a while either way before we see a second season. But I think it's worth the wait because this is now a saga. This is
an epic.
It's an epic saga.
It's an epic saga.
It's an epic saga. We can't keep doing this, Mark. We need to think of another word. And it's great because we've explained why it's great. It's got great characters. It's got a great story. It's got great villains. It's got great themes and atmosphere and cinematography. The music is spectacular. The technology behind these creatures, the animation and of the puppets and the animatronics and the CGI is great. The voice acting is great. The technical skill of the puppeteers is great. It's inspiring, it's heartwarming, it's funny, it's sad, it's dark, it's creepy. It fully embodies Jim Henson's vision for the Dark Crystal. It's everything he hoped it would be, as well as his principles, I think, on a much grander scale. Like it's similar to other, say, Muppet projects that were conceived of after his passing that were just carried on by his children, by Brian Henson, and also now it's been helmed by Lisa Henson. So, oh my god, there's so much here that's so beautiful and so weird and strange and crazy and creative and heartbreaking. It's everything I love, and I'm a huge fantasy nerd, as I said many times in the show. This is everything I love in a fantasy show, and it's great. Is it perfect? No. Like I said, the facial mobility of the Gelflings could be more, I think, but that's due to the limitations of technology. I'm willing to give that a pass, because the voice actors inject such raw emotion into it, and there is some emotion there, as you said, and the show doesn't drag. It doesn't feel rushed. It feels like a real, living, breathing world, and it ironically, I think it even makes the movie look worse in comparison. It feels so shallow now compared to this show, and that's not necessarily fair, because this is essentially 10 hours worth of material, whereas the movie was just like an hour and a half. So it's not fair. But all I know is I fucking love this show. This show deserves all the praise it can get, all the views it can get. So, Cabers, if you haven't seen this show already, get on Netflix. If you don't have a Netflix subscription, fucking get one. Get a free trial. Buy it. I don't care. Go and see this and rave about it online like we're doing, because the creators of the show, A, need to know how much the show means to us, and B, we need to know that we support a second season and we would watch it if it comes. We need to do that, because this deserves our support.
Give us the damn second sequel. Go, run out the street, run around, tell everybody, shout out off the rooftops, shout out the windows, shout through a megaphone if you have to, like Bart Simpson with 100 megaphones. Get one of those big, giant, megalithic megaphones, they're actually such a thing. Shout it from the rooftops. Throw leaflets over your town until they all go insane and get mega paper cuts. Do it now!
Rent out billboards. Get ad space on your local TV shows. Letter bombs. Leaflets through doors. Graffiti it on the sides of your neighbours' houses. Wait, don't do that. We might get in trouble if we we're encouraging that. Don't do that. Point is, the show is great. And you can tell because when you watch the documentary, everyone from the voice actors to the producers to the writers talk about how much they loved the original and how much they cared about this show, and it shows. This is not season 8 of Game of Thrones where everyone was just like, okay, I'm fucking done with this shit, I don't want to move on with my life. This was made with love and care and attention and detail. It's so exquisitely detailed. We could gush for ages and ages and ages and ages and ages about this show, but we can't, because we've only got so much time. And you know what? Just go and fucking watch it. Just go and fucking watch it. It is absolutely beautiful. And I'm sure the big man with the beard will be proud of everyone who worked on this.
God bless Jim Henson and the Henson people.
Indeed. So on that note, I think we're going to end the show. Thank you very much, Mark, for joining me today.
Can I please do my Muppet impersonation now?
Oh, go ahead.
Yay! Drums! Drums! There you go.
That was two. That was two Muppet impersonations.
That was one. I said it was animal.
What was the yay?
Good point.
I thought you were doing Kermit.
Yay!
It's all right, I guess. Again, that's still just two.
I can sing Rainbow Connection if it makes you feel better.
I'll give you 2 lines of Rainbow Connection.
There's so many songs about rainbows and what's on the other side. Take it!
Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide.
Let's continue this later.
No, let's fucking do it now.
So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see.
Together now.
Someday we'll find it. The Rainbow Connection. The lovers. The dreamers. And me. Give people heart attacks on how bad we are in tune.
Okay, so we can't harmonise. It's the thought that counts. And
yes!
And if you enjoy the show, Capers, please tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops. And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes. Like, what's that show or movie that we've reviewed that's similar to this? There's nothing that's similar to this. This stands above all the others.
It's above all else.
And you can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, or at podcapers.com. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HRC, or email us, podcapers@ap2hrc.com. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone, the red and blue 3D glasses, those are mine, and thank you for listening. This has been Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. Cue the music!